coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery, and the place where metal forgot to die.
This is the Here Lies Metal podcast festival review. We left New Jersey and we traveled to Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester?
I should have said coming at you from Worcester, but we're not in Worcester anymore.
We're in New Jersey. We're back in New Jersey. Back from Worcester, where we attended the Stormbringer Festival 2023, Stormbringer number 2.
This was our yearly concert. We used to give you like Psycho reviews, but this is here and this is better. So we're gonna.
Well, we didn't review the first one. We did go last year, and we had a very nice time. So we were very dedicated and intent on going again and seeing the lineup for number 2 here. I was quite excited because first year was like very power metal. I would say it was like 60% power metal, 40% heavy metal.
Yeah, a couple of doom
if I'm
bands.
Remembering it right. Yeah, some doom.
Yeah, old school doom bands.
And this was like they're bringing in some more heavy metal and speed metal and even some thrash. And power metal was much more to a minimum this year. We had a doom band. So this year's lineup was even more in line with my taste. So I was very excited to go.
Yeah, it was a little more aggressive stuff this time. A little more powerful, more aggressive stuff. We're not at death metal yet, fortunately, but I don't think we're going there.
I don't think there'll ever be a death metal band.
I don't think we're going there. There's no place for that, really. It's going a little too far.
But never say never.
Never know.
Anyway, we took some notes while we were there. We took some shitty cell phone videos, which we will share.
I thought they looked good. I mean, obviously they're not going to sound good, but I thought they looked good. I
mean, they're just cell phone videos. Like, we didn't try very hard either, because, like, I'm only going to film, like, a little bit because I want to enjoy the set. I'm not going to have my phone up the whole time.
I'm not going to be the person with the phone up there. That's not what
we're somewhat annoying, but we're not that annoying.
We're living the moment, not, we're not recording something that no one cares to see. No one gives a shit about. Like, we're living the moment as it happens. They used to do that.
Okay. So we're here to discuss our thoughts on all of the bands. We saw every single set. And I would say almost the entirety of every single set. I think we missed maybe 2 songs out of the whole festival. We're arriving late to 2 sets. As far as the lineup goes, we're going to be discussing. We noticed that it seemed the bands were all existing on a spectrum. And we love spectrums. We love scales here at Here Lies Metal. If you're familiar with our music reviews. Of between nerds, and freaks. And when I say freaks, I mean like heavy metal freaks. Like, I'm thinking,
Those are career metal guys, right? Can I call them that? Well, the nerds could be career metal guys, too, so that's probably not an accurate description.
Well, they're probably also into, like, D&D or, like, World of Warcraft or, like, they're reading fantasy books, that I've never heard of. They're deep into some, 24-part series.
Some of those freaks might be into that, too. I mean, but they probably live more of the life.
But that's not their personality.
No, certainly not. It's not what they...
It's about what's defining you. So the heavy metal freaks... they're about living a deviant lifestyle. They're crazy. They're the guy on that album cover. I can't remember the name anymore. The rocker with the back patch who's passed out on the street next to a pile of his own vomit.
Yes.
I'll have to look that up. Day one started out very interesting. First band, Bastard Cross. Bastard Cross.
No, Bastard. No, they're not
Bastard.
They're not from Boston.
They're not. They are black and thrash metal from Philly. And we've seen them before, actually.
Where did we see them?
We saw them at the Meat Locker.
Okay, they all start looking alike.
We saw them on for Spider, which is a similar aesthetic.
Yeah.
So they're black thrash, they're up there. They've got, paint on their face and stuff.
Yeah, they're the only guys that really did the evil paint on their face, right? Like that,
This was heavy metal paint.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, like, the kind of standard, like, it's not like quite black metal paint, it's black thrash paint, where they just kind of do the eyes.
Yeah, I think it comes from Slayer. It comes from the old days of Slayer. It
comes from maybe Tom G. Warrior.
Tommy G. Warrior, absolutely. That kind of stuff. It comes from that age, yeah.
Anyway, they're a new band. They have a couple EPs. I bought one of the EPs.
Show it to the camera. There you go. Oh, a little back. There you go. No, back. So is it there? That's good.
It's called Beasts of the Night. Came out this year. And I enjoyed them a lot. They sounded way better at Ralph's than at the Meat Locker.
Yeah, the Meat Locker's not known for its sound.
They were the only harsh vocal band on the bill. But
yeah, they were the most evil band, I would say.
But they were very tight, and shout out to that Worcester scene. There were people there day one for the very first band. They did not play to 10 people. They played to people there.
Yeah, everyone's gonna. I think that's the thing. Everyone's gonna really want to see every show for the most part. It's not like people are gonna ditch out and because where else are you gonna go? What else are you gonna do? You're gonna see the bands. Like what else?
All right, but verdict: these guys definitely metal freaks.
Yeah, they're living the life.
Hardcore metal freaks.
Yeah.
Young metal freak babies because they look like children.
Yeah, they might further their career into it, or maybe they'll go straight one day. We don't know. It's up to them.
Okay, next band was RYGHAR. I almost feel like we should mention them with the band after that, which was called Night and GALLOW, because RYGHAR, we didn't get the story, we didn't investigate. I don't know what I'm talking about, but he seems to be kind of a one-man show.
Yeah,
the main guy.
One-man show who got a band.
From RYGHAR, and he had the Night and GALLOW band backing him up for the RYGHAR set, and he played bass in the Night and GALLOW set.
It was a deal. They made a deal.
They made a deal. They made a pact. But RYGHAR, going back to RYGHAR, is an independent epic heavy metal band from San Antonio. They've had one album released 2021.
Yeah. And
I was not familiar with this band at all.
No. I only know RYGHAR from the Nintendo game, but he spells it differently, so it's not from the same thing.
It's false.
Yeah.
But it's definitely sword metal and a rockin' good time. And unfortunately, we discovered this later in the fest, was at Ralph's, a quirk of the sound, which is kind of frequent, I think, in a lot of venues, but was particularly notable in Ralph's, was if you're standing really close to the stage, you can't hear the vocals.
We kind of tried to figure this out kind of maybe halfway through the show. It's like, oh, wait a minute, when we stand further back, we can hear the vocals because the PAs were over us.
Yes.
And, it was actually what we were hearing standing close up, we're hearing the guitar amps and like some of the monitors that are going back towards them, so it doesn't sound good. If you're further back, it actually sounds really good for most of the bands.
I mean, some bands sounded better than others when they were close,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do feel like we didn't get a great experience of the RYGHAR or the Night and GALLOW set just because we were standing up close.
Yes.
And the whole time we're just like, wow, their vocals,
vocals
the guitars need to turn down.
Yeah, it kept sounding like these guitar players need to turn down so we can hear the vocals. But no, they were nobody was complaining because it was fine. Everyone in the back could hear it fine. Otherwise the sound guy would be like, hey, what's wrong with this?
But anyway, the guitars were rocking.
Yeah. Yeah, we were hearing like the raw feed of the guitars.
But anyway, RYGHAR, definitely nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds. Not like hardcore nerds.
Yeah, I suppose he is RYGHAR. I'm going to call him RYGHAR. Right,
I'm not sure if that's true.
I'm
not going to look it up right now.
Sir, comment down below if you are RYGHAR.
All right, back on
from San Antonio.
Night and GALLOW, heavy metal from Sacramento. So they made a pact across many miles because that guy was from San Antonio.
Right, you think they'd all be from San Antonio, but no, Sacramento.
So it's like a multi-time zone heavy metal alliance.
Yeah. California and Texas.
And GALLOW,
united.
They've had one album. They're on No Remorse Records. I like that they changed clothes from the first set.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't be able to tell.
One guy was wearing like a Judas Priest Hawaiian shirt, which I thought was kind of cool.
Well, no, he was playing that in RYGHAR, so that was, and he had glasses on, so that was like his disguise.
Yeah, but
And then he went on to sing in Night and GALLOW.
But then I figured out that was him. I was like, oh,
he was
wait
in
a
disguise.
Minute. You're the guy who's wearing the Judas Priest shirt.
But anyway, I also was not familiar with this band either. They're a bit more speed metal-esque than RYGHAR, despite being all the same people. And again, we should have stood further back so we could have heard the vocals better.
Yeah, we couldn't hear the vocals.
But yeah,
at all.
I like speed metal.
And RYGHAR was playing bass for them, like we said.
Yeah, I think that they do have a bass player, but he just wasn't there.
Couldn't make it.
So props to everyone involved in that and making this show happen for both bands.
I mean, all these guys are flying from far parts of the country to do one song, one set, one show. That's a big deal. It's not like a lot of them are on tour. They're just doing this one-off show. Next
up on day one was a band called Throne of Iron, which is a heavy metal band from Bloomington.
Bloomington's a local.
Bloomington, Indiana.
Oh, Bloomington. Oh, that's right. They were from the middle.
Is there a Bloomington, New Jersey?
Maybe, probably, but
Bloomfield.
I thought maybe for a second they were low, but then I remember they specifically said they were from southern India.
No, they drove. They said a long time to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have one album on No Remorse. Also,
everyone's on No Remorse.
Strap in for more No Remorse.
A lot of it.
Again, not familiar with this band at all. I was there for a number of things I'd never heard of. And I couldn't help but notice that the opening song of their set began with a bass line, and I'm looking on the stage. It's like, where's this bass player?
And I didn't notice this right away. I'm like, oh, wait, yeah.
I mean, there's two guitar people on stage, but they're both guitars.
That's how much we don't notice bass players when we just assume there's one but we don't even look for one, you know? Poor bass players. Shout out to bass players.
Anyway, this was explained in the set. Basically, their bass player quit. It sounds like probably at an inopportune time where they did not have time for a fill-in.
Maybe they never had one. They were just, you know.
They said there was one.
Yeah, okay.
They said they recruited an invisible demon to play bass for them.
Yeah.
AKA a track.
I believe he was controlled by the drummer. He was summoned by the drummer.
Yes, the drummer had summoned the demon.
I mean, it's kind of hard to sync with that. I gotta give him credit.
And
they screwed up a couple of times with it, but you know.
Yeah, there was some false starts and start overs.
But what they would do, they would just start the song over, and it was fine. Like I think it was cool that they did it.
Yeah,
like,
this crowd is definitely very laid back. Yeah. No one's booing.
I think that worked. Yeah.
Everyone's having a good time and is very supportive. And also, the front man, he definitely had charisma points.
Oh yeah, sure. Like, he had a lot of charisma, a lot of confidence, a lot of humor.
So he handled it very well.
Now I have to say something about this band, though. You know, they came up there and they made a mockery of metal. You see, they came. Here's what they did. Here's their crimes. They used small gear, tiny little amps. They had like a little micro amp off them, you know, like some kind of high tech pedal board thing. All small gear. They were wearing Cracker Jack clothes. Clearly wearing Cracker Jack.
Khaki shorts
and
fanny
packs and whatnot. and you know, so that's strike 2, and a strike 3. They didn't play like super loud. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, they have broken 3 of the rules of the guidelines in life, of the sacred texts of Manowar. What does Manowar say? You know, in all their songs, you know, they say, "Oh, I'm gonna cut my hair and get small gear and you know, wear Cracker Jack clothes." There's one song where they say that. It's on the Fighting the World album. And you guys basically just committed a carnal sin by going
basically
against...
on Kings of Metal.
Yeah, basically, like all this stuff. Yeah, basically, you just broke the rules of what Manowar said.
I think Throne of Iron is fine with attracting wimps.
Yeah, you guys, are. But let me tell you one thing. But one thing after they played, I'm like, wow, they had this very simple gear, all this. You know what? They sounded great. That vocal problem we were talking about, where you're standing close to stage. Yeah, I could hear the vocals for them, even standing close. It was weird. So yeah, they broke all the rules, and they broke all of Manowar's rules for metal, and yet they sounded actually really good. So so rules are meant to be broken, Manowar. Maybe all of your everything you guys are preaching isn't really conducive for metal.
All right. The verdict on these guys, obviously nerds.
Yeah, they're real nerds. Definitely.
Real nerds. Also, did we give a verdict for the last two? Nerds. It's been all nerds except for Bastard Cross.
Yeah, those guys are
nerds all the way down.
Freaks. So.
All right.
Yeah, let's move on to something crazy.
Next up is Legendary. Legendary, not legendary. Legendary.
That's how they say it, like back in the day. Legendary.
So they're an epic heavy power metal band from Pittsburgh. A bit more established than what we've seen so far. They released 3 albums. Last one was on High Roller, but now they're on No Remorse.
No Remorse, obviously.
Okay. And I guess they have an upcoming album. And I was a bit familiar with Legendary, but more so in the fact that like I found their 2019 album after it came out. And was like, oh, damn, I missed this. This is pretty cool. And then I just kept on listening to new music and never found time to get Legendary really into my listening schedule. But I liked what I heard. I just... I was very interested in seeing them.
Power Trio, which is...
Power Trio.
Both these bands had a lot of guys in them. These guys had 3.
We've got the 2-neck guitars.
Yeah, they both came out. So they came out like almost like prog rock, almost like Rush, right? Like one guy had the 12-string and the regular guitar, and the bass player had a guitar and a bass. So just in case he needs to play the guitar as well, like they had it, they had it all covered.
They really just needed to add some like pedals, like Geddy Lee pedals.
Yeah, right. Needed some synth pedals like Geddy Lee, and then it would have been set. But the weird thing is, most people would still kind of play like their riffs and everything on the 6-string guitar part, but he was playing all the main riffs on the 12-string part, which is a very weird sound. So
yeah,
I'd have to listen to. I'm gonna have to listen to the album now and see if he's like doing that. It's a very unique sound to do that.
Yes, but this is a band of very strong backs to be holding those guitars for us.
Yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy. Those things. That's another thing. They're very heavy.
They also brought out a fiddle. I think it's appropriate to call it a fiddle.
Yeah, it was a fiddler, right?
It was a fiddler.
Because that kind of music they're doing.
So that added a little more atmosphere to their songs, which is definitely needed because they're kind of folky. They've got a lot going on.
They had a lot going on. See, they did like three, like you could just say like 3 of their songs were just in a row, which is like very different. One kind of sounded like 90s Alice in Chains, like a ballad. These are the only guys that really had a ballad.
They had a ballad,
and
everyone liked it.
They had the balls to come out there and have, like, no one has the balls to do a ballad anymore. They did it, and they did it with confidence. Then another one of their songs would sound like Jethro Tull, and another one, would sound like just like power metal.
Yeah,
like,
there was like a speed metal song.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, they would get heavier. Like they were just super dynamic.
They've got their own cool sound. Yeah. They've got a lot of cool stuff going on. They're cool guys. I got the tape of their 2019 album.
There it is, folks.
It's not in focus, but
that's right.
Who cares?
If you could put it probably at the same distance you're at, and then I'm in her camera.
Also, the front man, whose name is Vidar.
Not Vigo.
He was wearing some leg armor on his shins.
I was looking at I was like, there's a French word for what is on his feet.
It's
I don't know
not
what
French.
it is. So it's not a French
You're
word.
like, was that a sabaton? No, it's not a sabaton.
It's not a sabaton.
Those are greaves.
It's a greave. So like on Skyrim, you can get a pair of greaves maybe. Also,
they covered Necropolis by Manila Road.
That was a good one. Everyone went crazy. Like I said at this show, if like everyone just played Cirith Ungol, like Manila Road and like pagan altar songs, everyone would just be like so happy. Like if that's all you did, because there's
I don't know if this sounds assholeish, but I kind of feel like everyone who was maybe not the headliners should have played one cover song.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, at least one. You have your favorite cover song, whatever it might be.
At a fest like this, because it's like not everyone knows your band.
Yeah.
But they might enjoy their set, but they're gonna like really get pumped up if you're gonna play like some Cirith Ungol or something.
Everyone
like that.
loves the cover song.
You all get together, you divvy up the cover songs and decide what's doing what.
It should be a requirement.
Because let me tell you, Necropolis was highly effective.
That was cool.
And everyone was already into Legendary.
You just got into Lost in the Necropolis. He did it spot on, man.
Well, he was not the Skeleton Boy.
No,
so
but still.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
You knew it was a song right away.
But anyway, I'm going to say these guys were nerds. I feel like they're kind of like going for medieval bard.
Yeah.
Kind of
they were the really folky
style.
They were the folk.
So it's like a different kind of nerd.
Yeah, I'm not going to call them folk metal, but they had folky elements. Never going to call them folk metal. That would just be bad. It's just insulting.
Different flavor of nerd.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up was Shadowland. They're on No Remorse. And we're both familiar with their album because we reviewed it back when it came out. But we'd never seen them yet because we're lazy and don't like going to Brooklyn.
Yeah, because obviously
we'd rather go to Worcester than go to Brooklyn.
Yeah, get all these bands.
But we hadn't seen them. So I was very excited to see them. And everyone in this band is really good.
Yeah, they were super like tight. They sounded really good.
Everyone is doing a really good job. They've got 2 guitars, bass, a singer, and a drummer.
Yeah, very very tight band. Like they're very just professional.
They're doing a lot of twin guitar stuff. Great energy, and they just have a very correct attitude.
Very Thin Lizzy sound, very high energy. I told the bass player, I'm like, man, your bass sounds like Phil Lynott. He was very happy when I told him that.
Yeah, we caught him doing some Phil Lynott moves.
Yeah, it's definitely into that.
We'll show the video.
Yeah, he's definitely into that. That just hit a nerve with them. And yeah, that dude's mustache is very powerful.
Yes, one of the
in the audience was commenting
players
on it. They were like, I wasn't the only one that noticed it. They were like, whoa, that's some mustache.
The guy had a lot going on.
Yeah, he was real. It was a real thing. That's a freak.
I liked also this band is definitely freaks. Everyone in this band, to be in this band, you had to have like a big tattoo on your abdomen.
A lot of tattoos.
The mustache man had this tarantula on his abdomen, and when you got close, and we were right up front, so we got a good view. You could see that there, he's got his stomach hair growing out, so it looks like a fuzzy tarantula.
I believe that's an interactive tattoo.
It's like a 3D tattoo. I've never seen that before.
That wasn't an accident.
Had to be intentional.
Yeah, but that guy's a career metal guy, right? That guy's gonna be doing it his whole life. He has no choice. Like, that guy's not gonna settle down and get a job. If he does, I'm gonna have to like find him and yell at him. If he does get a job.
Well, you know, those kind of, you know, he can work at a tattoo shop.
Yeah, I mean,
he can work at the bar.
No, imagine he just puts on his shirt and goes to the office and just.
There are jobs for, you know.
That would just be terrible if he did that.
There are jobs out there for
I don't want to see that man's
your rock and roll freaks.
Listen, I don't want to see that man's soul ever be crushed. Okay, even if he's homeless, I don't care. Like, he needs to do what he does.
I'm sure there's no danger of that.
Good.
Okay. So Shadowland, good set.
Awesome. I bought a shirt. Pretty cool.
Yes, Maldic just got a shirt. He doesn't have it. He won't show it to you.
I was impressed. Yeah, you know.
It's got a really cool skeleton on it.
I got this shirt too. See, Stormbringer.
Yes.
The blue shirt. The last year was red. This one's blue. So.
Okay.
Okay. Next band.
SONJA.
SONJA with a J.
Heavy metal gothic rock.
This was very different.
From Philly. They have one album that was released last year on Cruise Del Sur. Very interesting choice. Only gothy band there. But everyone really dug it. I was pretty familiar with them because I gave their album a very solid shot last year when it came out. Unfortunately, honestly, the songs are good, but the production, it did not gel with me.
I found listening, you know, in the car listening to the bands, because I haven't, you know, heard a lot of these bands before I saw them play. They all sounded better live than in their albums. I think
this is what I'm getting to.
It's a normal thing, I think.
I will also, you know, spread a little hate here and say particularly, and I noticed this on multiple bands, I do not like how Arthur Rizk handles vocal production, which he did on the SONJA album. So that's probably why I was not in love with it. But I was interested in seeing them. You know, I've seen Melissa play pretty recently in Crossbitter, which is a very different band, and she's a very impressive guitar player. Yes. And of course, you know, when she was in Absu, I think when she joined, she replaced 2 guitar players. Wow. So Absu became a trio when she joined.
Right. Don't you get rid of one of them? I'll save you some money. Right?
Yes, but I was so surprised. Like, I expected to like the set, even though I didn't love the production on the album, because I was sure, like, you know, that's not what it's going to sound live. I was so impressed with this set. Like,
and it started like, you know, very gothy, and it just got just more kind of.
But they're like very
heavy.
Aggressive goth.
Yeah.
Like, they've got the melodies, and they have light parts too, which was kind of refreshing because not a lot of the bands besides Legendary had kind of any light and clean parts.
A lot of clean guitar.
Yeah, and it was really, you know, stark. She was like such a good player. You could just hear how cleanly she played that stuff, which is also very different from anything else I've heard her play before.
Her style is very precise and very just controlled and delicate.
But really, every member of them, well, they're a trio, so the other 2 members were also just like crazy.
They have a lot of dynamics. They go from very clean and light and just very kind of gothy to like super aggressive. I mean, you know, rhythm section there. The drums and bass are one of the best rhythm sections I've ever seen.
They were so tight, and the drummer.
Yeah.
The drummer.
Yeah, that guy's the
drummer. I've never seen anyone drum like that.
I asked him, I was like, where do they make drummers like you? He said, Philadelphia. That's what he told me. Said it with a smirk.
Well, like, yeah, like every hit on that drum was like it was his last hit. You know, he had to make everything count. Everything struck.
He's the only one that brought his own drum set. And of all the bands, he's the only one that brought his whole own drum set, because he's one of those drummers that probably like is not going to touch someone else. He's like, no, I'm using my drum set.
Well, I remember you said like you were thinking like he was worried you know,
maybe he'll fuck up someone's drum set by
or maybe you play like that, you might break the kit.
Yeah, you probably don't want to fuck up other people's drums. You know, drummers get really crazy about that. But or that he's like, I don't touch it. Like, this is my drums. I need my drums. And for his sound, like most like hardest hitting, but it's a controlled hard hit. Like, I don't know, like he's a machine or something. It's just really, you'd have to hear it. Like, you'd have to hear it live, not on the album. You'd have to hear how he's doing this like live. It's super high energy. But
on top of playing their original material, they informed us that it was Danzig's birthday.
We got 2 covered.
Is that true?
Maybe. I believe Danzig's a Cancer. Yeah.
So they played Devil's Plaything.
That was a good song. It was Danzig 2. Was
and
it?
Then
Danzig 2 was good.
To my complete disbelief, I was like, surely that's not what I think it is. I know it's the bass player. He did the
Yeah, right. He did that.
And I'm like,
he did the salute.
I'm like, is this just for fun? What are we doing this for?
Did the sign of the hammer, and all of a sudden I hear. I'm like, that's not that song. You guys aren't doing this song, are you? And every time I hear, like, I could identify the first note of any Man of War song. That's how Man-and-Warily autistic I am. And I'm like, no, they're not doing this song, are they? Because I've never heard anyone do this song ever.
Bridge of Death.
Yeah, Bridge of Death, which is a very dark man. It's not one of like the power metal Man of War songs. It's like this song that's about Satan, which, you know, I'm surprised Man of War did a song like that. You know, like Man of War definitely are not known to be like satanic or anything like that. Never really been accused of it. But they did it, you know, superbly, obviously, amazingly. The whole song in its entirety, the whole, you know, the whole prayer at the end.
It was such amazing. I mean, it was a completely appropriate choice for this festival.
Absolutely. And everyone, of course, went crazy.
Yeah, everyone went crazy. And I would never would have, like, them covering Danzig, is of course very welcome, but I was not surprised.
Yeah.
Very surprised to hear them cover Man of War.
Yeah. Especially that song, of all songs.
So they can play anything.
Yeah, that was superbly impressive, and everyone went. That stole the show. And I'm like, any band that has to follow this, they better be really freaking good.
Yeah, I was so impressed, despite my problems, because a lot of times, you know, if I don't like an album, but then I see a band live and I really like it, I will then start liking the album.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like I'll get over whatever little problem I have with the album, and in this case, with the production, I'm willing to give it another shot. I bought the tape.
Yeah, it's hard to, you know, like get like that sound in a studio because you're not really controlling your sound. You know, most likely you have an engineer doing that, and a producer is like, no, you don't want to do that. You know, you get a lot of that, and it's just, you know, it's going in digitally. It's like you'll never get that live sound. So some people live are just superb, and this is just a perfect example of that.
But the verdict on these guys, definitely freaks.
Yeah, they live.
But
they
like
live for
a different
rock and roll.
kind of freak.
Yeah.
Like a classier freak maybe than like Shadowland, but kind of more evil. Like it's more like secretly evil.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just their career rock and roll. That drummer, that guy's going somewhere. Mark my words.
And I found out at the merch table that he also plays in Crossbitter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's also the guy.
So he's also an insane like grind death. Final band day 1, Destructor.
Destructor. It's an old main band.
If you don't know, they're thrash, heavy power metal from Cleveland.
If you don't know, now you know.
And they were here to play their 1985 classic, Maximum Destruction.
Cleveland, Ohio, the home of heavy metal, the place where heavy metal came from.
Yes, they all have a uniform leather vest.
They have like a biker gang, right?
Is short. It says Cleveland or something like Cleveland Metal or something.
They had the colors. They were wearing leather vests with colors, man.
But yes, so they were actually the only like kind of classic band on the bill. But they don't.
Old men.
I wouldn't say they sound like old men. I mean, they didn't have the energy of SONJA, but like.
Yeah, I knew they weren't gonna. I'm like, these guys aren't gonna like. I'm not expecting them to. But yeah, they played like they sounded like they would in like 1985. They weren't trying to like sound like old men thrash, like Overkill or something. You know, or like Testament. They
were playing their old material.
Yes.
And that was definitely like, you know, Maximum Destruction's classic kind of underground. I don't think it quite gets its due. It's got some great songs. My personal favorite song on it, Iron Curtain, which I was very excited to hear.
Unforgettable song. You never forget that chorus. You hear that chorus once, you love it. Like you always.
And you know, Dave Overkill, the frontman, gave some background on some of the songs, and we learned that Iron Curtain was pretty much their first song. They wrote it in high school.
It's like imagine you still playing when you're like in your 50s a song you wrote in high school.
Which makes sense because that song is for babies.
Yeah, I mean,
it's for babies. I'm a baby. I like things for babies.
It was in the 80s and it was for babies in the 80s. Okay.
Simple song for simple brains.
That's how they wrote them back then.
But you know, even though like they're older, they weren't jumping around the stage like Dave Overkill in particular. Like he sounds exactly the same.
I tell you, he could sing though. Like I can hear his voice, and he was singing spot on at his age, and that's hard. I have to give him super credit for that.
Even standing up front, so it probably sounded better in the back.
He sounded really good, Mr. Overkill.
You know, he's not like a James Hetfield having to tune down these songs.
He's able to do it. Like so, you know.
To hear the album, to hear some very classic, you know, thrash, historic music.
Yeah, everyone was down with it. You know, everyone.
You can tell it was the genuine article. And they also, after they played a song, they have an upcoming album coming out called Blood, Bone, and Fire, on hopefully this fall on Shadow Kingdom. They played a song from it, and I'm happy to say it fits in with Maximum Destruction pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, just
they're not.
It's like they left off, you know.
You know, they're not, as Maldix mentioned, doing the overkill where they're just, I don't even know what's
that new
music overkill's
thrash,
making.
You know, that high budget thrash that like old man bands play now. They have a lot of money, like Overkill or Testament. You know. Yeah.
But word on them, freaks, original freaks, biker freaks.
Yeah, now they're like family men.
Thrash freaks.
But,
anti-posers, probably. I mean, now they're nice old men. They seem very nice.
They came from that.
I imagine they were real freaks back in the day.
I think everyone's going to grow up. All these freaks today, they're all going to grow up like these guys. They're eventually going to be like, but they're still going to play, though. See, like these guys. Yeah. And yeah, you know, like we mentioned, like, you know, like the bass player, like, I think he's going to be what I look like in like 10 years.
Yes, Maledictus started fixating on the bass player.
That's me.
Like, I noted that.
The future.
I was like, that guy's wearing skinny jeans. I've never seen a man that age and that
By the
figure.
way, he was 51. We thought he was older, but he's 51. So he wasn't that old, actually.
And Maledictus likes wear skinny jeans, so he's like, that's gonna be me.
But you know, but if I'm lucky, because that guy's playing in a band that everyone wants to see. That's not me.
He's got a band. He's got an album coming out.
I'm not playing in a band that everyone wants to see at all. I'm playing in a band that can't even manage to book a show. Anyway.
All right.